Right now, we're going to explore one of the most exotic places in the Holy Land, the tomb of John the Baptist. We are in the Samaritan city of Sebastia, and what you're looking at are the remains of a Crusader church that was built above John's tomb in 1160 AD. As you look around, you can see the outer walls of this church. From an early age, John must have known that he would preach in the spirit and power of the Old Testament prophet Elijah. After all, this is what the angel Gabriel told his father, Zacharias, and this is what Jesus told his followers. It appears that John chose to baptize people in places where significant events occurred in the life of Elijah, as if John were retracing Elijah's footsteps. When John died, you would expect that his followers would want to bury him next to Elijah. But Elijah wasn't buried. According to 2 Kings 2:11, Elijah was taken up into heaven in a chariot of fire. So John's disciples did the next best thing. They buried him next to Elijah's student, the prophet Elisha, who lived 8 centuries before Jesus. First, we're going to enter the chapel that is directly over the tomb of John. Now, less than 30 years after the Crusaders built this church, they were driven out of the Holy Land by the Muslims. And soon after that, the back room of this chapel, which we are in right now, was converted to an Islamic mosque. You can see the prayer niche, called the mihrab, in the southern wall, which, facing Mecca, is the direction that Muslims are commanded to pray. Now, as we come back out into the first room of this chapel, you can see that this wall was once filled with marble tiles, displaying the Crusader cross on each tile. But after the Crusaders were defeated, the Muslims came in and systematically carved off the vertical posts of each cross. But that wasn't the only thing they did. Like the evil Jewish kings of the Old Testament, who erected pagan statues on Jewish altars, the Muslims did the same thing by placing in here a statue of Baal, the ancient mythological rival of the God of Israel. Baal was the god of the evil queen Jezebel, and that makes this statue an idol. The Muslims also placed here a statue of Herod the Great, and we don't know how he lost his head, but here you can see him wringing his beard. Herod, as you will recall, was the king who slaughtered the Jewish Bethlehem babies in a miniature Holocaust. Now, Sebastia has been an Islamic town for about 800 years, and so it's likely that this chapel was desecrated by the Muslims as an insult to the Crusaders who built it. But the Muslims do honor John the Baptist, and so let's go underground and see where John was buried. As we go deep into the earth, into a musty tomb, we will see 9 spaces where people were once buried. Over here is what we call an Arcosolium-styled tomb, with a circular arch above it. This heavy stone door was once used to seal the entrance to the tomb. As we turn around, you can see a wall that has 6 holes, and behind these holes are deep shafts in which individual bodies were placed. From the black carbon stains on these lower holes, it appears that at some time before the age of flashlights, someone with a candle tried to peer into these empty tombs to see what was inside. We are told that both John and Elisha were buried under these tombs, several meters below the current floor level. And we're fairly certain that John's body is not here today, since there are reports that his bones were removed sometime around the 3rd or 4th centuries, and that they were widely distributed among churches around the world. John the Baptist is remembered as saying about Jesus, "He must become greater and greater, and I must become less and less." Well, as he was in life, so he is in death. You see, for every 10,000 people who walk through the tomb of Jesus in Jerusalem, there is probably only one person who will descend these stairs. John would probably be happy with those numbers. And according to Jesus, John was the greatest man who ever lived. What made him so great was his love for Christ and his humility. John the Baptist gave us a clear and powerful example by which we can live our own lives.